Shaka. Tell you got the girl and matter. Shaka, he must come to give it to you proper.
I'm in love with you, baby, and this is how I know. My whole body's going crazy, and I can't take it slow. I can feel something running up and down my spine, and I keep wanting you beside me, baby, all the time. If this isn't love, what could it be? What is this feeling going through me? What is this weakness in my knees? Tell me, why am I feeling like this? I'm in love.
Shaka, he must love you badly.
Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm in love.
Shaka, he must love you gladly.
Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm in love.
Love
Yeah.
me, love me,
In love.
baby.
Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. So in love.
Love you to
If
me.
not love, then what's this I'm feeling?
You hear that? Sexy JoJo, you turn it up, it buck. It can't get no higher than this, it turn up. Girl, you turn it up, it buck. It can't get no higher than this, it turn up. Baby girl, let me tell you this. Chaka, you must want more than a little bit. Oh girl, can't you see I am loving it? My girl, you make I'm on a reminisce. Wait a minute, girl.
I'm in love with you, baby. It's right there in my eyes. I can feel it in my body. You have me hypnotized. It's a tingling all over, a warm feeling inside. It's like coming down with a fever for which no doctor can prescribe. If this isn't love, what could it be? What is this feeling going through me? What is this weakness in my knees? Tell me, why am I feeling like this? I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh,
Like a blessing from above.
oh, I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. So in love,
Shaka, be
if
my
not love, then what's this I'm feeling?
You hear that? All day you on my mind, thinking about the lovely sunshine. Chaka can't wait for the papers to sign, to say I'm yours and you are mine. Girl, you turn it up, it buck. It can't get no higher than this, it turn up. Girl, you turn it up, it buck. It can't get no higher than this, it turn up.
Is love supposed to make you feel rich?
Chaka, we must love you badly.
Should it make you feel so
Chaka,
helpless?
we must love you gladly.
Should it make you wanna shout out to the world?
Lovely, lovely, baby.
I'm in love. If this isn't love, what could it be? What is this feeling going through me? What is this weakness in my knees? Tell me, why am I feeling like this? I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh, 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 oh,
Chaka, we
oh.
must be
I'm in love, yeah, in love, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. So in love,
madly in
if
love,
not love,
in
then
love.
what's this I'm feeling?
Allow me in for you completely.
I'm in love.
Cheese.
Yeah, welcome from the couch. I'm JoJo Mac. Yeah, that was I'm in Love with Shaka Demus, the great Shaka Demus from Shaka Demus and Flyers. Of course, he has some songs by himself too, so is Shaka Demus the solo artist as well as the duo with Flyers. And you know, that song I'm in Love was done for my label, Fire and Ice Records. Yeah, the great Shaka Demus and JoJo Mac, I do it. I'm in Love. It's out there in the universe, so go and check it out and, you know, get a copy. Yeah, you should always get a copy of good songs, really good songs that last forever. This is one of those forever songs. So again, welcome from the couch. You're talking. So again, welcome from the couch. Yeah, today I want to talk about me and Ducky Simpson. Not Black Uhuru yet. Me and Ducky Simpson. Well, this is going to be part 1 of 2, actually. And this part is going to be about when I met Ducky Simpson. Yeah, the legend. He's a legend, Ducky Simpson from Black Uhuru. I'm going to get right into it. It was 1992, and I was running the club DC Civic Center, Symbolic House, on 14th Street in Washington, D.C. That night, it was Admiral Bailey and Wayne Wonder in the house. You know, it was a concert with Admiral Bailey and Wayne Wonder. Of course, me being the singer, I'm going to be opening all the shows that come into DC Civic Center Symbolic House, because I'm here run it, right? My place. So, therefore, I'm going to be, opening all the shows or be on it at some point, because usually I use even other locals as well on the show, not just myself. I always look out for the other locals. So, I'm always the one opening for the bigger guy. They open for me and I'll open for the star. And that's how it was done. And this particular night, just before Admiral and Wayne Wonder came on, I went up to do my performances. And I saw when these guys walked into the place looking really dapper, their trench coat kind of thing. And I saw this really tall man with this woolly locks and beard and thing. And I'm like, oh, that's Ducky Simpson from Black Uhuru. And then I saw Garth Dennis and Don Carlos, they were all there that night. So I performed, did my thing, After I got off stage, Ducky Simpson came to me and he was like, do you have a manager? And I'm like, yeah. And he just, Ducky Simpson is a man of very little words, very perfunctory kind of guy. He don't have much to say, and whatever he says, it's not in many words. And I'm like, yeah, I have a manager. And he says, can we meet here tomorrow at 4 o'clock? Can you meet me here tomorrow at 4 o'clock? This was a Saturday we were talking about, Saturday night. And the next day would be Sunday, And I'm like, okay, sure, I can meet you here at 4 tomorrow. But I was going to be there at 4 anyway, because it's my place. So tomorrow would be another day of business again. So, we would be there cleaning up and getting ready for the night, whatever is happening that night. So, of course, I would be there, And I'm always dressed for the occasion. When I just dressed to go clean up the place, I'm always dressed for the occasion. Anything, anytime. Because I love to dress up. So, yeah, I'm already dressed for the occasion. No matter what I'm doing there, if it's cleaning time or not, I'm still going to be all dressed up, ready for something. So that Sunday at 4 o'clock, he actually came at 4 o'clock. Very punctual indeed. And when he got there, he was ready to go get to business. He came by himself at that point. And yes, me and my manager was there. My manager, yeah. And we sat in my office and we had a chat, and he did say this then, but then I went to Jamaica and heard that he was using that same term to describe me, because he did say, you're such a performer, we have to tie you up on the stage, you're like a horse, because yeah, I'm very, very active on the stage, always, still to this day, I'm active on the stage, and I'm talking about 1992, but I'm not any less active right now. Yeah, I'm all over the place. The only thing I don't do right now still is the splits. I used to do splits. I used to do splits. I roll a line out on the stage. I roll all over the place like, the crazies. But, yeah. So that day we spoke and he was like, look, I would love to do some work with her and whatever. And my manager was like, what do you have in mind? And he said, bring her to Jamaica. We could do something, no man. And so my manager was thinking about doing an album with me, so he talked about it with him, and he said, "How about next week?" He said he's going to be in Jamaica for the week, for the all of the following week, and how about if we come down, he get his musicians together, and he produce an album, and that's exactly what happened. I went to Jamaica a week after meeting him. We were in the studio at Lego Studio down on Orange Street, I think at Orange Street, yeah, at Lego Studio. And for a few days, I would go in day after day, basically, to what I would do, I would sing the songs that I have, because I have my songs already written and everything, and I would sing the songs and the musician would play. I would just stand there and sing, and the musicians would be making the beat as I sing. I loved that process. I just love that process. I kind of miss that, with all the synthesizers and all of that, the piano beats and stuff like that going on now. I really miss that. But yeah, Dean Fraser and his team, Nambo Robinson, oh gosh, a whole lot of people. Was it China Smith? China Smith, I think. Quite a few people. The best musicians that were working with, some of the best musicians that were working with Black Uhuru at the time. And we were in that studio doing our thing. There was one of the guys, Marsden, I don't think it's the popular one now, but there was a guy, Marsden, who did the drum machines. But we had live drum and drum machines. But yeah, it was a beautiful process. It was a beautiful process. Bugger, all of those guys were there. And I remember them time that we used to smoke weed, right? But when I went to Jamaica, I went not just with my manager. I took one of my background vocalists with me. She was pregnant at the time too, Jada. Hey Jada. Yeah, I took Jada with me, and Jada's mom came. We brought Jada's mom so she could take care of Jada. So it was, we were really serious about what we were doing. Jada did background vocals on the album, and so did Sensi. Sensi was singing with Black Uhuru at the time, and I did some background as well, but it was mainly Jada and Sensi that were doing the background vocals. And before we even got to the background vocals part, like we did all of the making of the beats, like I said, me standing there singing, blah, blah, blah. And we made the beats and whatever. And then I remember it took us one day actually to voice the album. One whole day to voice the album. Because we went into the studio like at 7 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, Lego again. We went to the studio to voice. And me, Jada, and Sensi, yeah, we were in that voice room from 7 in the evening, 7 p.m. We never finished voicing until 7 a.m. in the morning. I remember Lego Studio had some nice fresh carpet. Looked like they had just laid new carpet in there too, in the voice room, and it's a huge voice room. And I remember us taking turns and sleeping, because when I was there voicing some of the songs, they were Jada and Sensi were there like lying down on the carpet sleeping. And while they were doing some of their stuff that I wasn't in, I was on the carpet sleeping. But one of the things I remember more than anything else was the smoke. The weed smoke. It's like we were in a smoke room. And it never seemed to bother anybody singing or anything. It never bothered me at all. But it wasn't even in the voice room that the smoke was. It was where the engineer was. That place stayed smoky like all night, I didn't have to smoke to get a high, because that's one thing I don't do. I never used to do when I smoked. I stopped now, like I said. But when I used to smoke, I don't have to smoke to go on stage. I don't have to smoke to sing. I don't have to smoke to perform. I made sure not to do any of that stuff, because I come with a natural high, so I didn't have to smoke for anything. if I'm going on stage, forget the smoking. Nah, I'm not smoking at all. When everybody else trying to get a 2 puff and a 1 puff before they go on, not me. I stay away from that. I stayed away from that, yeah? Because that's not my thing. I don't need that when I'm on stage. But as soon as I get off though, I want my split, yeah? Yeah, because, that that one that says, satisfaction. Yeah, I want that. So that's how I met Ducky so many years ago. And, as most people know now, it led to me singing for Black Uhuru years later, which I'm going to be talking about in part 2. But I also remember Ducky asking me to sing with Black Uhuru before. But I remember he made it very clear that you wouldn't be singing any lead in this thing. You'd be just singing background. And that wasn't good enough for me. That was not good enough for me. I did not want to just sing background vocals, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, eh, eh, eh. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be out there doing my thing as well. I wanted to be at least singing some of Black Uhuru songs. I couldn't understand why a woman couldn't do some of Black Uhuru songs. You know what I mean? I felt like, the woman could play a much more prominent role. Like everybody could sing. I feel like everybody could sing. That's how I was feeling at the time. I'm not saying that I'm telling the people them how to do them thing. I'm just saying that's what I was thinking in my head. So when Ducky talked to me about singing with Black Uhuru at that time, and I realized that, because he made it clear, you're just going to be doing background. And they also made it seem like you wouldn't even be considered an Uhuru, so to speak. So I feel like the woman didn't play a big enough role, or they didn't make her seem important enough. And so I didn't accept it. I didn't accept it. Still, even though I know I go through a little struggles, same way, I have my thing when I want to do, and that's how I want to do it. So I didn't take that position at the time. But Ducky and I remained friends. Me and my manager would make several trips to Jamaica during the time after we met Ducky. And I would always hang out with Ducky. Sometimes me and him, well, he had his kids in Jamaica, so he would go hang with his kids, and I would go hang with Ducky and them, at the beach. There was this man on the beach. He had a house on the beach, and he had a setup where, he cook and sell fried fish and, bami and, festival. And that was my place to be. I loved it. And I know people around Ducky was like, had an eagle eye on me, like they think, hey, like this girl around Ducky, I think, because I know they were complaining about I wear too many short skirts, and I'm short, I don't look good in long clothes. I'm very short. I'm only 5'2", so I don't look that great in in long clothes. And I have nice legs. I have nice legs, so I don't mind, showing off my legs. And especially at that time, I was so much younger. Them still look nice and tight and good still, Yeah, but I love fashion, and so I was always fashionable. And some people just feel like because I'm fashionable and I like short clothes, their relationship was at risk. I don't know what it was, but they certainly didn't like me being around Ducky, and they showed it. Yeah, but I wasn't worried about that because, like I said, I was always there with my manager. So I wasn't, concerned with that. They were, but I wasn't. Because one thing I can tell you for sure is that all through these years that I've known Ducky Simpson has never, ever made a pass at me. He has, I don't know if him look at me lopsided because I'm in a seat, right? But he has always treated me with so much respect. And I do the same. Even when we're not agreeing, even when me not like certain things, me not agree with certain things after I started singing with them or whatever, Ducky never showed me any bad face. Ducky never showed me no over the top face where him feel like, when I feel like, wow, why is Ducky looking at me with lust, or he never did that. We were always good friends that laugh and talk, and we could talk about anything. But he never approached me in any unprofessional way. And even though I don't sing with Black UHURU no more, I tell you the truth, I still love Ducky Simpson because I'm full of respect when it comes to me. I don't know about nobody else. When it comes to me, mad respect. And I give you back the same. But I'm going to tell you about how I come to sing with Black UHURU in part 2. So this, like I said, this is part 1. And I'll let you know how I get to sing with Black UHURU, how that came about in part 2. So that was how I met Black UHURU, and that was how I met Ducky Simpson. Because a lot of people don't know the history. So I just wanted to put it out there and let people know, that, hey, this man had been in my life for a long time. Even though after those years, I hadn't seen him for a long time in between, up to the point where I started singing with Black UHURU in 2014 rather. So I'll be talking about that in part 2. Okay? All right. Now it's time. Yeah, it's that time when I do a little piece of something for you. Yeah, and this song is gonna be from my Blueprint album that was released in 2017 December. Yeah, on the Musical Ambassador label. Yeah. So Trevor Elliott and I produced that album. So, ladies and gentlemen, Pretender.
Oh, try again in another life. Oh, you could cry me a river, but you can't be my friend. I know you have an agenda, 'cause I see how you pretend. You act like you are amazing. Everything I do, you're praising. Always, you're my first responder. But now I know you're undercover. I see you are a pretender. You are a pretender. You come around, make sure you get close, being agreeable, the one who laughs the most. While all the time you know you were the thorn on the rose. You are a pretender. You are a pretender. In another life. Can't fool me twice. Your game is up. That must be rough. I was warned but didn't listen. What I did instead, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but you could to use your head. Thank you so much. Yeah. This was another episode of From the Couch. This is where I say bye-bye.
That's it for this episode of From the Couch with JoJo Mac. Please don't forget to like and share and comment. And if you haven't, subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified when the next upload happens. Thank you.